Well, I'm out and about today on the Blue Revolt, and it's lovely to be out again. It's quite an exciting day today, and a busy day as well. And when I get back, I'm going to shoot over to the shop and pick up my Trek, which has been in the shop for more than a month. Yeah, I've mentioned this before. The Trek had a couple of broken spokes. It's only a couple of 100 miles of riding since it was new, and broke a spoke. They repaired it, and then about 2 rides later, another one broke. So I took it back again. And they said, okay, we'll have a look and decide what we're going to do. We may rebuild it, or we may get Trek to replace it under warranty. But we'll let you know. And of course, in true bike shop tradition, I never heard from them. So after 2 weeks, I phoned them again and I said, what's happening with my bike? And they said, the Trek had agreed to a warranty replacement and the new wheel would be here in the middle of October, second week of October in fact is what he said. It's now the third week of October. So he said, oh, the bike's here, it's waiting for you to pick it up. And I said, well, probably would have been more helpful if you'd told me. And he said, well, our automated system sometimes doesn't send out the messages when it should. So I said, well, if somebody doesn't pick up their bike, would it not be worth giving them a ring and asking if they got the message? Anyway, I haven't missed it that much. It shows I'm probably not a mountain biker. And the other thing that's happening today is I'm getting a new car. I should be more excited about it than I am. But I probably will be when I get it. But there's this thing of buyer's remorse. And I suffer from something which I call pre-buyer's remorse. As I sign on the dotted line, and they say your car will be ready in 2 months, and I spend that 2 months wondering whether I've made the right decision or not. And this time, a little bit more than usual, because there's been some changes in my life. And I'm now commuting to Swansea 3 days a week, and I'm only going to Chepstow 1 day a week. And when I go to Swansea, I go on the train, which is so much better than driving. I just find it so much more relaxing than sitting in traffic, and it's not just the traffic, it's the aggression on the road. Because everybody thinks that they'll die if they lose 30 seconds. They're all so under pressure. And of course, because the traffic is getting worse and worse and worse, they're feeling more frustrated. And there's the added advantage of not having to find somewhere to park. Travelling by train is just the best. You know, I've said this so many times before, I sound like a stuck record. There's just too many cars on the road. And if you can find an alternative to the car, life is just better. And so it's interesting to me why people are so reluctant to give up their cars. And when I say give up, I don't even mean like get rid of your car or anything. I just mean use it less. Find an alternative to get to work. Sure, throw the family in the car on the weekend, go somewhere nice. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't take me any longer to get to Swansea on the train. And of course, it takes pretty much the same time every day. Whereas traffic is inconsistent. So quite often the traffic will be a lot worse. And I'm trying to figure out how I could cycle to Swansea, but I've got to take stuff with me, so I haven't figured that out yet. And I feel like I might try taking the bike with me on the train and then cycling back, so that if I'm all hot and sweaty I can just get changed when I get home. And one thing I have demonstrated to myself time and time again is that if you live in any kind of urban area, a trip between 5 and 10 miles will be quicker on a bike. And I understand not everybody can ride a bike, but the more people you do encourage to ride bikes, the less cars there'll be on the road. So even if you are one of the ones who ends up staying in your car, you'll benefit too, because there'll be less cars and it'll be easier for you to drive. So it really seems bizarre to me that whenever there's a call to get people out of their cars, it's met with the most unbelievable resistance. It's something I've wondered about for many years now. Many years ago I can remember going to Cardiff and having to queue just to get into a car park. The cost of parking is ridiculous. And yet, if there's an alternative to driving in a city or a town, I'll take it. I went down to town yesterday. By the time I found somewhere to park, I may as well have just walked from home. And that's one of the big issues. People are reluctant to use public transport, and I say because it's inconvenient. It doesn't take me where I want to go. Well, guess what? If you live in a town or a city, nor does your car. And I'm talking about urban areas. And obviously, if you live in a rural area, your car is your best choice, sometimes your only choice. But the strange thing is how many people are just so anti any scheme to improve cycling, infrastructure or improve public transport. And I don't know why people get so worked up, because it's not as if you're going to be forced to use public transport or cycle just because you make it easier for somebody else. Maybe there's just this fear that if public transport or cycling is more accessible, maybe these people in their cars are worried that they might be tempted to use it. And that's their biggest fear. I've been anti-cycling all this time. What if I actually started doing it myself? What if public transport was so convenient that I started using it? And then my friends found out. Oh dear. What would that do to my status in society? That's the only reason I can think of that people are so reluctant. Because as I've said, nobody's going to force you to do it. The only way they're going to try and force you to do it is through taxation. Taxing the roads. And you know what? The reason they're going to do that is because there's too many cars on the road. Congestion charge is there because of congestion. So if you encourage people to use buses, trains and bicycles while sneakily sitting in your car, you will still benefit. And as I've said, the other thing that I find unfathomable is why do people hang on to their right? They're so reluctant to give up their ability to sit in traffic, getting frustrated. I had somebody just come past me yesterday, it happens fairly often, hooting because, well, recyclists are on the road because according to him and his Range Rover, I shouldn't be there. And I think maybe that's what the car drivers are most reluctant to give up. It's that sense of entitlement, that sense that tells them car drivers are the superior beings and they have a God-given right to the road.